went to Haiti with my former husband to buy a sailboat, and never did, but we ended up on a mountaintop, and I was MarBeth of Haiti. I was a painter, and I painted vignettes of Haitian life. I did murals and portraits and landscapes and seascapes and illustrated books. It was just wonderful at the time, and now about 3 or 4 later, I have a whole different life.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. So MarBeth, so let's tell us a little bit about what you're doing today and how you got into life empowerment and the healing of the loss.
Well, basically I'm calling myself a Joy Strategist because really what I love to do is to teach people how to get into the creative flow of joy. And yes, it's very important for people to understand her loss, and because they're huge teachers in our lives, and they really give us the opportunities that if we tune into them, they can give us huge opportunities to grow. But I have gone through several lifetimes in different occupations. As you said, I was an artist, and I've been a jewelry designer, and at one point I sold ancient artifacts on eBay and had kind of an internet business. And what's really most fulfilling is to really teach people how to get into this juicy creative flow of energy into a joyful place. So that's where I'm at right now.
Right. Okay. Cool. So what part of the country are you in right now?
I am in Florida, South Florida.
Florida. So from Haiti, you made it to Florida. Not that far.
Right, via New Mexico. I was in New Mexico for about 10 years too. But no, I haven't always been like the most joyful of people. I definitely had my story, just as everybody has their story. And that story, what has influenced me to be working with joy and helping people to move into that. And
right.
Yeah, so I experienced, as you said, loss. I experienced quite a bit of it, and had been.
So tell us what.
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. Go ahead and tell us what led you into what you're doing right now, and why.
Okay. So I have been for the last, I guess, 8-10 years. I've been in personal growth for about 25 years or so. I've been studying and teaching A Course in Miracles. And, I had basically grown up in a state of victimhood. I don't know if you're familiar with that, place where you're not really taking responsibility for your life. Or, it's easy to blame other people because, well, my father had abandoned me, and, this was wrong, that was wrong. And, and everybody has a story. And, yes, I did have, I was definitely experiencing a lot of hurts and losses. And it said that I couldn't open 2 screens at once, and it shut me down. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I still don't see on. Oh, there we go. Okay, now you're on. So, do you see? Are you in the window where you can see the chat?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right on. So, yeah, go ahead and you can type in, reply to any questions we get coming in. And Leslie asked a quick question.
Okay.
On what years you were in Haiti for?
And I put it. I just.
74.
74 to 91.
Cool. Wow, that's a good span.
Yeah. It was pretty amazing. It was a pretty amazing place.
So, MarBeth, let's get back to what you're doing now with people and how you're helping them out. Now, I know you wanted to talk about an offer of some sort of how you can give people some insight on how you can help them. if they have problems with loss or being stuck. Why don't you take it from there and kind of elaborate a little bit, and maybe we can share a link on here.
Absolutely. This
So
is basically for you if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel like something is blocking you from being successful, from having the relationships you want, from having the lifestyle that you want, so abundance, and if you feel that way, if you're feeling maybe some sadness or hi. So and it's also getting back to it. It's also
we lost you.
for you if you want to be more joyful. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You dropped off the face of the screen, and now we got you back. I put up the link that you sent me as far as the handout goes.
Okay.
Maybe you want to talk about that.
Absolutely. And also, if you just want to be more joyful, you don't really understand what it is that's holding you back. So I passed out. I sent a place posting this handout so that you can maybe get an idea, take a look at what could be holding you back. Are there any losses or hurts or experiences that you've had in your life that maybe you've forgotten? Well, not really forgotten about, but it just really isn't something that you thought of or maybe connected with what's going on. And so this is just something that you can use to look at and to help you perhaps see any connection, like, oh, maybe that's what's creating this impediment to my having good relationships now. Maybe it has to do with this particular hurt or the particular loss of that relationship in the past. Maybe you lost your trust, your self-respect, or you lost your relationship. So.
Right.
How are we doing?
Cool. So, so I was going to ask you another question here. What advice would you give someone just that had someone that had a recent loss in the family or a relationship, or what would you say up front to someone who's grieving right now?
Well, okay. There's a few things going on there. First of all, if it's very, very recent, I feel like, yes, this is something that generates a shock. And it's very difficult to be in that position. I've been in that position. I lost my sweetheart 3 years ago to a heart attack, so I know what it's like. And I made a decision at that time that I was not going to wallow in grief. I was not. I have a lot of wonderful tools. I work, as I said, with energy and joy, and I have a lot of wonderful tools to move through the emotions that are attached to loss and to grief. And so I decided that I was going to use that, and so I did. There's so many levels. When you lose, you feel the pain, you feel the loss, you feel guilty because you didn't figure out a way for that not to happen, and then there's the just devastating, and just all of the emotions that come up, and you really have to kind of tackle them one at a time. And when people work closely with me, I can help them to really look at and release, just release. You don't have to hold it because our loved ones don't really want us to suffer. In terms of relationship breakups, there's a lot of things that go on there. You might want to look at, well, is there a pattern going on here? Is this similar to something I had before, maybe in a form? So again, it's what's going on here. I've had this loss, and I've had this loss, and I've had this. In terms of relationships, is there a pattern? And what's really going on here? And that's something that I with people and work closely with me. So.
Right. And so let me ask you this: what have you found to be the most effective thing for people dealing with immediate loss?
Okay, with immediate loss, feel it's really important to a few things. I know from my own experience, it was for me to just decide, make that decision that I was going to move forward. And I was grieving at the time, but it was like, yes, I'm going to go through this, but I'm not going to stay stuck in it. And I think that's important, but that's a personal decision. Everybody has to decide when they want to move forward. Generally, you can move through the emotions. You can move through you can actually ask to see things a different way. You can ask, look, what could possibly be a gift from this? And really, when I was going through it, that was not one of the easier things to look at, like what could possibly be a gift in this. But, it actually turned out to be huge for me because it was, I could do this, because I was able to move through it so quickly and just to be left with the love and the memory and just really grateful for the experience of having that relationship. And I was able to find the gift of being able to help other people. That it was just like, wow, this is something I could share and really help other people move through it. But mostly what I do now is really work with people who are not in an immediate state, because they're not always ready to move forward. But I like to work with people who are, just noticing that there's something not really working in their life. Whether they're just something off, they know that there's something not quite right, and then we can look at what could be the causes of that. What are the hurts? What are the losses that might be creating that? Might be holding you back. You've been struggling with a business and it's not working, or relationships, they're not working, and my gift is really to help people really release those blockages that are really keeping them from being in a place of expanded awareness and love, because when you start to release all of the things that are holding you back from being right and connected to who you are, and really we are created in the image of our Creator. So we are pure thought. We are pure thought. That's who we are. We don't have any limits. We're love. We are joy. We are peace, and we're totally expansive. So we can create. We're very, very powerful creators, but you really have to release a lot of the crud that's in the way, and a lot of that has to do with these experiences and how you're looking at them.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do I want to get at? So you were telling me, you were mentioning earlier about a survey. Now, how is the survey different than the handout that we have here?
It's
talk about that.
A way, but basically, I really love to work with people, and I just wanted to do something really special, because I really appreciate your having me on the show, and so I wanted to offer your viewers, I'm not going to say listeners because they are viewers, an opportunity to work closely with me, to have a consultation. And in order to have the consultation, I can't have consultations with everybody who asks me, but I cleared my schedule so I could actually have about 7 people, to have a consultation with me, and they would need to qualify by taking the survey, and answering every question. And so that's what I'm offering for your people. The first 7 people, it's great. We can take a look at what could be holding you back, from being successful, and we can talk about that. So,
okay, cool. I just put up. So the survey here, I just put up the link to the survey to your website there, so people can check that out. So it queries them on certain things that they're going through, and so you can get back to them.
And there are things that you wouldn't even think of, as being people are getting older, maybe they're losing their looks or they're losing their sexiness, or they think that they are, and things like that. You don't even think that might even be, something of a loss, but it is. Or people have, they kind of don't have the body that they used to have, or, whatever it is, if they've lost themselves in relationships, if they, have these patterns that are recurring to look at, and then you have an idea of where it goes from there.
So the handout that I was going to ask, like the handout that the link that I put up earlier that people can get to here in the chat box down below, that is, so tell us a little bit about that again, the handout, the difference between the handout and the survey.
Okay, the difference between the handout and the survey is the handout is, will give you some information that could be very valuable to you if you want to explore what could be holding you back. The survey is if you would like to have a conversation with me, and you qualify the first 7 people, but you're going to have to fill out all the questions and then push the button at the bottom of the survey, and I'll get with you very, very shortly.
Okay, cool. And you say this initial consultation that they do the survey for is free?
Absolutely free, and it's a $250 value. So, it's not, because my whole, I call it a mission, is really to bring more joy into the world, just like Three Dog Night, joy to the world, because, I lived most of my life, in that victim mentality, that's blaming everybody, and I really didn't know that there was another way. I didn't know that my thoughts were, I didn't know that, everything I said had impact. I didn't know so much, and I do now, and it's so wonderful to be able to share it, and
yeah, well, that's great. Well, down here below in the chat box, I can see that Tony says that you nailed it. She has me nailed, he says.
Okay.
See that in the chat?
Yeah, I see that. Cool.
So Tony, do you have any questions for MarBeth right now? Is there anything you'd like to ask? And I'll type it in. Any questions? So we'll see if anybody has any questions.
Sure.
Say again?
I'd also like to share something with the viewers because, I want you to leave here knowing that you have some strategies to help you feel more joyful, help you feel better in your life. So if you like, I'd be happy to share something with the viewers here.
Yeah, feel free.
You guys want to know some strategies, some joy strategies?
Spill your beans.
Okay, I'll spill my beans. Okay, well, this is just part of it. There's a lot more where this is coming from. But basically, I had an experience. I was in India a few months ago, and it was really an amazing experience. And I got sick at one point. I was in northern India on near the Ganges River. They call it the Ganga up there. And I was sick, and I felt really down. And I'm writing a book, and it's about basically strategies of joy, how to be more joyful. And I have, all of these different exercises. And I'm also a Kundalini yoga instructor, so I have these all different types of exercises and meditations and whatever. I was feeling really low and down, and I opened up my book, and it was like gibberish. I didn't relate to it at all because I was in a much lower vibration at that time. And if that makes sense to you. But I realized that I needed to create these bridges. So if people are feeling down or low, that they need to, there's something you can do that's easy that's going to lift you up. So one of the bridges is to, I call it, just really getting deep. You just really need to kind of imagine yourself, close your eyes and kind of take a few breaths. And then you imagine yourself just expanding. So you're bigger, and the next thing you know, you're as big as a house, and the next thing you know, you're as big as a tree, and the next thing you know, you're as big as a skyscraper, and then you're getting bigger and bigger, and you're as big as the whole United States, and then you're as big as the world, and then you're as big as the solar system, and you keep growing. You're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you're as big as the universe. You're so big you can actually put the universe inside of you. That's how big you are. And so at that point, you can think about what actually brought you down, and and you are now so much bigger than it is that it can totally affect it. And it's like, wow, I'm bigger. Because what happens is we have these issues in our lives and we feel small and contracted. And so when we start to realize that we have power. We don't have to be these tiny little contracted cells. We don't have to be at the mercy of our emotions. We don't have to be at the mercy of circumstances in our lives. We always have a choice as to how we can see things. And so when you can allow yourself to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, it can shift you into a different state.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, I hear from Tony.
It just makes you want to take a deep breath.
So Tony,
I just put on a question that we have from Tony right here.
Yeah. We do foster care in our home, and the stress is getting me down, but it's something my wife loves. How can I feel good? Okay. Well, again, that has to do, several things are actually coming to me about that. And it has to do with your wife really is loving this, but you're not loving this. So it has to do probably something between you and your wife. How can you feel good? You can actually ask a lot with spirit, and you can, I work with the Holy Spirit, and I work with the angels, and you can ask a higher power to help you see things a different way. So that's the first thing. And I would actually have to know a lot more about the situation in order really to reply with too much. But if it's,
Fill out the survey, Tony.
The survey, fill out the survey. We will talk about this if you like. Because, the foster care, the whole basis of that is so beautiful because these children really need to have a loving environment. It's so important, but it's really important also that you feel good. You really have to honor yourself.
Right. I was just, Tony just said maybe I should, fill out the survey, and well, that's a big reason why MarBeth is here, to let people know that she's here to help, and she has the tools to do it. So we definitely encourage you to fill out the survey and print out the handout too. Check out the handout. So see what you can get from this. I'm sure MarBeth would love to be able to help.
Absolutely.
Did you have anything else, Tony, at the moment, or we could, actually, you know what, I do have another question for you, MarBeth, and that is, now since you've moved through a lot of healing and of certain losses you've had in your life, how is your lifestyle now? I mean, the difference between then and now, how is your life today compared to what it was before?
Oh, it's 180 degrees. I am happy now, and I'm very joyful, and basically I know that I have the power to pull what I want into my life, what I desire, and I'm just good. when you're giving your power to your emotions and you're giving your power to events and circumstances, then it really makes you feel small and diminished. And so you really have to understand that there's a different way of looking at it. And that was a huge thing for me to realize that I actually could take responsibility for my thoughts. I could take responsibility for how I looked at things, because, if you're, and even like blaming, like other people for things is, if you realize that maybe this is happening for a reason, and I like to think of it that we contract before we're born to create situations in our life for our growth. So, I guess the correct response for any circumstance, no matter how uncomfortable, is really thank you. What do I have to learn from this? So.
Right. Cool. So, so let me ask you this. Today, what is now your ultimate goal, idea, or experience that you'd like to have from this point moving on?
I definitely want to be part of the biggest shift on the planet. I feel the consciousness of the planet is shifting very, very quickly, and I want to get the message out to just everybody that I can, hundreds of thousands of people. That's really my goal.
So that's your motivation.
Oh, yeah.
For what you're doing now, and all right, cool.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So the last thing I just wanted to kind of, before we wrap this up, there's a few questions I wanted to ask, just simple one-liners, so people can really leave here knowing who MarBeth is and where she's at in her head right now after all this said and done. So, MarBeth, what's your most valuable talent?
Empathy.
Today.
I am very empathic, and that's part of my gift. I'm intuitive, and therefore I can actually feel what's going on in other people when I work with them. I can feel where they hold their emotions so that I can guide them to release them.
That's a big deal, because that's one of the things, that's the number one thing my friend told me years ago when I was talking about dating, different women and this and that. He's like, dude, the number one thing is the E factor, empathy.
Right.
Find a woman with empathy. Otherwise, forget it.
It's funny. Yeah.
The E factor is huge, and I found that to be true. So,
cool.
Good on you. So, MarBeth, what's your biggest fear?
My fear is of being inauthentic. I really want to I try to always come from my heart space, and I just don't want to ever, come from a place of where I'm faking it. I just really want to be real.
Cool. Your single best lesson on success?
You are what you think. Really.
What makes a great person?
An open heart, generosity, expansiveness, and really the intention and following through.
What makes a great entrepreneur?
Tuning into your intuition and following through with it. If you're getting the idea, you got to move on it.
Cool. And what inspires you?
Continuously learning from other masters. I'm always reading and learning, and I'm just driven to learn new modalities, new exciting ideas and opportunities.
Okay, great. Who is MarBeth?
I am the Joy Strategist. So that's who I am. And you know what? I am basically pure love. That's who I am. I am love, and I am joy, and I am peace.
That last part cut out. Repeat that again, MarBeth.
I said I am love, I am joy, and I am peace.
Awesome, cool. One-line statement on your tombstone.
She never stopped living her life to the limit.
Awesome. So now, what last new lifestyle secret can you leave for our audience to give something of value which they can take right now and put into use?
Okay.
Into action today.
I touched on it briefly. Be careful of what.
Yeah, I know you touched it.
Watch what you think. Be aware of it. Look at at your thoughts. Think 70,000 thoughts per day on the average. Average person thinks 70,000 thoughts a day. And, how many of them are negative? How many of them are pulling you down? How many of them are, I can't do that, or that's too expensive, or, that's for other people, it's not for me. But watch what you're thinking. And when you're aware of it, then, you can start to interject some other thoughts, like, I can do this. I deserve this. That's something you really want to be aware of. Your thoughts are very, very, very powerful. Valid point. Well, MarBeth Dunn, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing with what you have to offer and your love and your light. Thank you. So for all our viewers and Tony, definitely fill out that survey, get that done, print out check out the handout, and we'll see if MarBeth can definitely help you out. And on that note, until next time, everyone, live fully, do the labor of love, and stay in touch. Namaste. Namaste.
Talk to you soon, MarBeth.
Okay, bye, Sandra. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.